What is going on, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Nerdwide podcast, episode 130. I'm your host, Tyler Haynes, with my good friend and my favorite just friend to talk about movies, TV shows, and all that kind of nerdy stuff with, Chris Rivers. Now, Chris, we have got a week. We're filling out the docket, getting stuff ready for the show. We realize next week is going to be like prime time content wise for us. Can you remember 3-4 weeks ago, we were like, oh, what are we going to do? We don't have a lot of things coming out to watch or anything.
Yeah.
Well, our wishes are granted just, a month or two late. Okay, so we're going to have to, can get some money. It's okay if it's 2 months, late. So anytime I want to get that Powerball, just any time. So,
yeah.
But Chris, how have you been, man?
All right. Working.
Yeah.
Working and sleeping and watching stuff. So
it's that time of the year, and it's our favorite time of the year. And God, it's so much fun.
It's finally cooled off.
Yes. Well, it's supposed to heat back up though at the end of this week.
Shut up.
And then Saturday morning be 30 degrees. So if your sciences weren't screwed up, they're about to be.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, we've got 4 TV shows next week and 2 movies.
Oh man!
And the 2 movie thing is probably going to last for a while because once we get through October, we've talked about dropping back into our MCU rewatch, and then we'll have the Christmas movies after Thanksgiving.
That's gonna be so much fun.
And then at the start of next month, oh crap, we're probably gonna have 6 shows going at one time because the Santa Clauses.
Yeah, that kicks off.
Drops, and then they moved Echo.
Yes, they moved Echo.
So we'll have 5 shows probably for like a week or 2.
Oh, is that no? Did they push it back till after Christmas?
What, Echo?
Echo, because that's
did.
one of the ones they're doing all at once.
I think it's into like January of 24.
So they did hear us. Good. So we're not going to be that swamped then. Good. Let's get through our of the year edition stuff first, and we can go into other things. Quick housekeeping before we jump into this, because there's a lot of fun things I want to talk about, especially here with Chris, because we have not talked about any of this until we sat down and getting ready to do it now. Quick housekeeping, don't forget to subscribe to either our YouTube or podcasting service of your choice. If you enjoy the show, make sure you leave us a thumbs up on YouTube or give us a good rating on whatever podcasting app. If you don't enjoy what you see or hear, leave us a comment. Don't downvote or anything like that. Let us know, because we can't improve the show if we don't anything's broken or wrong or anything like that. So that's the best way to do it, is throw us a comment into the YouTube, or if you can on whatever podcast service you have. If you want to do more, you can always go to patreon.com/nerdwide. 3 different monetary subscriptions from $3, $5, and $7. No, 1, 3, something like that.
10.
And whatever one you want to do, that's if you want us to watch anything, that's where you do it. Read anything, play anything, that is the place to do it. Episodes early as well. If you want your episode earlier than they've been dropping, that's where you go. But other than that, we are good to go with housekeeping. Listen, Harley Quinn season 2. We have finally reached the penultimate episode in the finale. Let's jump right into it. Wikipedia.org and just /Harley Quinn TV series. Let me scroll. Season 2. Episode 12, titled Lover's Quarrel. Kite Man rescues Harley and takes her to his apartment, where they use Borgman's eye to upload a digital version of him to Kite Man's electronics so he can help build them in anti-mind control devices. Meanwhile, the Justice League defeat the parademons, prompting Psycho to dispatch Ivy, Clayface, and King Shark to fight them after an impatient Darkseid arrives on Earth and threatens to kill him if he does not kill Harley soon. Though the League prevails again, Psycho has Ivy use her pheromones on them before bringing Harley back to the mall. Kite Man follows them and gives Harley a device before trying to free Ivy with a true love's kiss, but to no avail. Psycho forces Ivy and Harley to fight, but Harley kisses Ivy, distracting Psycho long enough to free Ivy so Harley can give her the anti-mind control device. Together, they defeat Psycho and impress Darkseid, who offers Harley his army and the Earth. She declines as she does not want to be a supervillain anymore. Once Darkseid leaves, Psycho uses the last of his strength to show all of Gotham Harley and Ivy having sex. leaving Kite Man bewildered on the side. I thought
Yeah.
that this was going to be the final episode. I didn't realize we were going to do this. We're going to clean up this, and then we jumped straight into what we did. I thought this next episode 13 would have been season three's premiere and jumping
Yeah.
off point. But I mean, I'm okay with it.
Yeah. I liked it. Dr. Psycho is it's an entertaining character.
He is a trip.
But I like that even after Sai sacrificed himself, they're finding a way to keep him around.
I like him as a character. Like, he's only in a couple of episodes, but I do like having him around still. Especially now losing another member of the crew, because Psycho's not coming back for this crew. But I am curious after this finale where they go from here, as far as, because she doesn't want to be a villain anymore. She wants to be in love, and what does that mean for the show? Which is crazy because they've got 5 seasons on, and I'm sure we'll get back to this maybe in February, March time, somewhere right on there. If not, January, because, why not? But we've watched 2 seasons of the show this year, and I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
Episode 13, the season 2 finale, titled Something Borrowed, Something Green. Ivy convinces Kite Man to go through with the wedding after revealing she secured the venue he wanted. Meanwhile, on their way to Arkham, and after listening to Gordon rant about not earning any recognition for saving Gotham, Two-Face convinces him to arrest all the attending villains at the wedding so Gordon can earn public recognition and eventually run for mayor. Harley, having also been imprisoned at Arkham, refuses her crew's offer to break her out to attend the wedding. Upon learning of Gordon's plan, though, from Two-Face, she teams up with him to escape. While trying to identify Gordon, she attacks the wrong person and enrages Ivy, who asks her to leave. Despite this, Harley foils Gordon when he gasses everyone in attendance, though she causes the wedding to turn into an all-out war between the villains and the GCPD. Frustrated and realizing Ivy does not truly love him, Kite Man breaks up with her and leaves. Harley and Ivy escape from Gordon together, sharing a kiss after Ivy confesses her feelings for Harley. This whole episode was fun, and it felt like a rom-com movie set in the Harley Quinn universe, and I just thought it was fun.
The whole Joker storyline going along with it.
Yes.
And he's decided to essentially still be Joker, but he's going to settle down in
He's got a family and kids now. It's so good. Like, the writers of this show are wonderful, and they know what they're doing. It's just very well done.
Yeah. I was worried at the start of the episode that they were going to keep kicking the Harley Ivy can down the road. I was like, come on, just go ahead and go with it.
Yeah. We all know this is what we're leading towards. We don't need to keep dragging it out and running it out. But the wedding venue had so many funny things with it. The maze of a parking lot was one of the funniest things. I just laughed real hard at that. I don't know why, but I forget what she says. They said, it's just this place is like a maze. And she goes, yeah, why is it so expensive or something? I forget. But it was.
No, she said, this is why I didn't want to have the wedding.
Yeah, because nobody can leave. God, it was so good, man. What a great show. I really am excited to get back into it because it's been fun. So the next season 3 came out July 28th of 2022. So this was 2 years between season 2 and season 3, which makes sense because of COVID. So
yeah.
And then looks like a year. Oh, so we've actually got a special to watch between season 3 and season 4, titled "A Very Problematic Valentine's Day Special." So, and then it looks like, that's so the last episode of season 5, which came out September 14th, it says this episode is dedicated to Arlene Sorkin, the original voice and inspiration for Harley Quinn, who died during this season's run. So that's cool, because I guess I'll have a little post-mortem and dedication thing to it at the end. So, but that is Harley Quinn season 2. We did it. All right, everybody, we're wrapping the show up. Thank you all so much for watching. I'm joking. Listen, we've got something else to talk about.
We got a lot of something else.
Yeah, probably one of my favorite shows we're watching right now. No, I can't say that anymore because this has been a close one. It's my favorite new show. Gen V Episode 2, titled First Day. We're going to the reviewgeek.com, and this one is by Fraser Fernandez. We have done something of Fraser's before. I forget which one it is, though. Episode 2 of Gen V opens up with Luke's friends gathering at the site as they mourn his death. Meanwhile, Ashley and the other PR reps fabricate a story to sell to the public, displaying Andre and Marie as the saviors of the day. This is like one of those things I love so much. We're tying it in with the boys. And there was several nods to this episode to exactly where we are in the timeline. We had Ashley doing her thing, but then on one of the TV monitors, it was the news network, and it was talking about Homelander killing the random guy. So just let you know exactly where we are. They also decided the new rankings, placing Andre first. She also questions Indira about the woods, but receives an indefinite answer. Indira boasts about her success, but Ashley reminds her that she is right here, but is a failure. Upon returning home, Emma greets Marie and tries to make her comfortable, but only ends up overwhelming her. Marie pledges to keep her head in the game and heads off to sleep. The next day, Marie heads out to attend lectures, but is constantly bombarded with attention and selfies from students. She finds out from one of the students that she has made it to the top 10 being a freshman. Andre notices that he is number 1, and Jordan notices they are number 5. The next day, Jordan goes to pay her respects to Brink. Kate approaches her to offer sympathy. The same evening, Marie draws a lot of attention in the cafeteria and gets introduced to God-U social media director Jeff. He brings her up to speed with most of the happenings and privileges that she has gained. She is astonished to know that the word going around is that she fought and defeated Luke, but she gets appreciated for her modesty, which something that show does so well is doing the whole publicity thing of, we need a token black strong female, and they do it that way, and it's such a unique dynamic because this is what news shows do. This is what a lot of corporations do in our world, and they hit it on like they hit the nail on the head like every time they do these things. Yeah. They even, when they were talking about maybe putting Jordan as number 1 or something like that for this article, they said no, it's not going to poll well in Dallas and Jacksonville, I think is the city. It said. Yeah. And I was like, God, this is so good because those are your very, very, very like Republican cities and stuff like that. Just very good. He drags Marie along for an interview and introduces her to Courtney. At the interview, Andre asks his dad if Luke gave him anything, but his dad misinterprets and encourages Andre to push ahead of the pain because Luke gave him an opportunity. Courtney tells Marie to stick to the script and hands her an outfit. Andre and Marie go for a photo shoot and proceed with the interview. On the way out, he asks her if Luke told her anything about his dad, and Marie reveals he said the woods. Andre reveals that Luke mentioned that his dad had it before dying. He asks her for her help as his suicide doesn't make any sense. She claims that she only knew them from our night and declines the offer, claiming she almost got expelled for the incident at the club. She also points out that she didn't have any backing like the others did. Later that day, she heads in for her acting lecture and gets placed in the spotlight for her actions. The lecturer ends the lecture by giving the students an assignment to submit a film with a partner. Well, that's wrong. Let's go back. Later that day, Emma heads in for her acting class that gets placed in the spotlight. Nope, sorry. This article is not written that well here. The lecturer in the acting class ends it by giving the students an assignment to submit a film with a partner. Post-lecture, Emma asks Liam if they're still a thing, but he introduced her to a new girl. Justine intervenes, guessing he made Emma shrink to make his ding-dong look big. Humiliated, Liam leaves the conversation. Justine introduces herself, and the two team up to do the assignment. Later that day, Jordan confronts Marie for taking credit for fighting Luke and yells at her. Marie reminds Jordan that she rejected her initial application. Marie also tells her that it's not in her hands and that she is only playing along with the script. She also tells her about almost getting expelled. Jordan then switches genders again and admits his fault, but he requests that Marie put his name out there during the interview, and she reluctantly agrees. Andre approaches Kate to talk about it, and they discuss that Luke won't stop until he figures it out. Later, Justine and Emma look for scenes to recreate for the project. Justine assures her that she isn't typecasting her and looks for other scenes. Emma is happy because she doesn't like getting small, as she has to purge herself to do it. Later that day, Indira calls Marie over for a discussion. She claims to want to help Marie and give her a long speech to make her open up. Eventually, Marie does and tells her about her sister who had gotten adopted, but unfortunately, she doesn't know where she is. She also explains that she could probably find her if she was able to earn a good amount of money and fame. Following that, Indira heads into the chambers where Sam is held down. She tells him that they attempted to escape only makes it harder for him. Dr. Edison places a long needle on Sam's back and then hammers it in. Don't know what that procedure is for, because that is not standard. Just letting everybody know. Andre and Kate arrive at Luke's room and finds that it's all been cleared out and the whole room has been bleached. Later that day, Emma gets teased by a few students on campus and sees students watching a video of Justine exposing her purging secret. She storms into her room where Justine is shooting a video for another girl licking and sucking her own tail. What a world this Vought place is, you know? Oh, man. Andre recalls Luke saying Andre's dad has it and goes over to his dad's statue to check. He uses the open crotch of his father's statue and pulls out a phone. The two proceed to watch a recording of Luke where he explains that his brother Sam isn't dead and that he is under the school in a special facility called the Woods. Andre and Kate recall that Sam has schizophrenia and was told died in the facility. The two begin to catch up onto the story after initially wondering if Luke also had schizophrenia since it runs in the family. Just then, Andre realizes the time and remembers he has to attend his interview. Kate encourages him to go, telling him they can solve the case tomorrow morning. Marie reads through her scripts and realizes they negate the possibility of anyone else being there from the start. She begins to practice her own script, intending to tell the truth about Jordan's contributions. Meanwhile, Andre makes his way to the interview venue but walks past Luke's memorial and decides to head to Brink's office to look for clues. He comes across a laptop and uses his powers to access the files. He finds a folder named The Woods and a file by the name of Sam, Luke's brother. Andre realizes it's the same child he had saw the runaway in the previous night. So, I want to put a pause here. Wouldn't they have already cleared out that room? Why would they have waited the next night for Brink's office?
I don't know.
Like, as soon as he died, that should have been cleaned out and everything done then.
They'd already gotten all of Luke's stuff.
Yeah, right. So, I mean, why? You think you would have done Brink, who's actually, I don't know. That's just my 2 cents here. Very cool. I like Andre's powers. His little Magneto. He's essentially Magneto. Let's just call it what it is. He also clicks a picture, but just then the SWAT guards burst into the room. He manages to hide just in time, but his dad keeps calling him as the interview is about to start without him. Just as the interview starts, Haley, the interviewer, mentions that she won't ask her about anything about her sister. She also reveals that they have her sister's email, but Annabeth would not like to maintain any relationship with her sister. Hearing that, Marie changes her mind. She goes on to take full credit for stopping Luke and does not keep her promise of Jordan. Later that day, after reaching home, she sees the messages from Emma but decides to ignore them. She holds her family picture and begins to cry, and you see Emma purging herself to shrink while Marie slits her palm open. Marie revisits Indira and asks if she knows about her sister. Indira gives her a hug, making Marie burst into tears. Meanwhile, Andre follows the guards into a strange stairway. He sees a cleaner accidentally stumble in and have his throat slit by the guards. Right as he's about to move, a guard pops up behind him and spots him. Andre uses his ability to throw his gun away, but the guard uses a sound device that brings Andre to the floor, which is a very cool device that apparently that soups have a different frequency of hearing, and that's how they're doing this. I'm like, interesting. You think that the boys would actually know this and get this device, but they don't. So I think that might play into a season 4, if I had to guess. Let's see. Just then, another guard comes and tells him to turn off the device and begins talking vulgar things to him. After that, Kate enters and touches his neck, urging him to do it, and one guard sucks the torch of the other guard off. This lets Andre stand back up, but Kate feels dizzy and fades, ending the episode. God, so cool. I love this show.
Yeah.
And another one of those that's just, it's going to be, every episode is going to be great. I fully believe it. And I'm ready to get caught up on it because dodging spoilers is not fun. So anytime I see anything to do Gen V, I just keep scrolling. So
yeah. I think it's interesting the way that they're, like having Emma have to vomit basically to get small. She mentions the enamel's worn off the back of her teeth.
Yeah, because then the justice said, what? She's oh, nothing. Also, my son, nothing else. I was like,
But they always go for like, obviously, I mean, this is a trademark of the boys, so it's not unexpected. They always go for like the sexual side of the joke, right?
Yes.
Like when he opens his dad's statue, he opens it at the crotch.
Yep. And
It,
it's
it's
very collegey too. Like it's something like
yeah,
college kids would do, and
yeah.
sure enough, and like the whole tail lady thing, making the video try to get
Mhm.
likes, and like and if you notice too, it's all about your publicity and all about what you look like in the public eye. It's like it's very well done,
Yeah.
and they understood the assignment, and it's one of those that I'm glad we have it
I
because
am I am sad though that we're not going to get any more. Well, we presume we're not going to get any more Clancy Brent.
right. So we'll see. Maybe he was a
He's so
clone.
good on stuff. He's
Yes.
so good on stuff.
And just to have him for half an episode, if not wasn't really a half an episode, just for a couple
Uh,
scenes, is
mhm.
is an injustice. Let's just call it what it is.
Yeah.
What do you think the woods is? I'm thinking like a
I,
testing facility for soups, like where they
yeah, probably seeing what their breaking point is.
probably like to get their like the little sound devices thing. It's like they run experiments on soups to take them down and stuff. I bet that's huh.
Could be.
Huh. Because we
So they
know in
keep
the
them in check.
boys, the Russians, remember the Russians took Soldier Boy and
Yeah.
were running experiments on him too.
Hmm.
Hmm. Oh, what a show. Well, let's talk about some other experiments, if you will.
Yeah.
Loki, Season 2, Episode 1, titled Ouroboros. We're going to
Mhm.
GamesRadar.com for this one. And this is by Faye Watson. We don't actually use GamesRadar a whole lot. So here we go. Full on spoilers, ladies and gentlemen. Let's jump right in. Let's see. Throughout the opening episode, Loki keeps being pulled between the past and the present thanks to his time slipping issue, and finds out some intriguing things about the TVA. This includes how He Who Remains was originally a very big face at the agency before it went through rebranding and covered him up. It's the revelations from the future that are more interesting, though, as Loki hears a recording that suggests He Who Remains and Judge Renslayer were once very, very close. In the aftermath of Judge Renslayer's disappearance, there are some new faces at the TVA as well. Kate Dickey plays General Dox, and Liz Carr is Judge Gramble, who we meet as they discuss just what can be done about the spiraling situation. The big moral question is whether should they be pruning those branching timelines, or should they listen to B-15's pleas to save the lives of those living on them, as they are all variants just like them. Gamble is pretty convinced by B-15's argument, but Dox is more militant in her response and wants to find Sylvie to interrogate her about everything. Meanwhile, Loki and Mobius decide their route of action is to go to repairs and advancements where they meet OB. While everyone else has had their memories wiped, Ke Huy Quan's character remembers as long as 400 years ago at the TVA, mentioning the last time he spoke to Mobius. We wonder why he managed to escape the memory wipe. So keep that in mind. The whole time I was thinking that too. I was thinking maybe he's just been forgotten about, but that doesn't seem. I don't think he was just forgotten about. There's something else going on there.
Yeah.
In terms of Loki's time slipping issue, he hasn't got an explanation. It's not supposed to be possible at the TVA after all, but he has got a potential solution. It's pretty dangerous though, and will require Mobius to expose himself to temporal radiation, while Loki prunes himself and hopes it'll send him back to the present. There's also the issue of the temporal loom, which keeps track of all the branching timelines, and it's been overloading in the aftermath of He Who Remains' death. It translates raw time into a physical timeline, and if they can't fix it, then chaos is on the horizon for all involved. Everything goes a bit pear-shaped when Loki is pulled into the future with no warning. This leaves Obi hoping he'll prune himself in time while Mobius exposes himself to radiation and risks his skin being peeled off. A lot of great MCU moments here. I feel like this is the perfect blend of serious, of drama, of suspense, with the side of humor in it. Their conversation in the elevators as he's time slipping is so funny. He's like, I thought you said it wasn't that bad. He goes, oh, it's really not that bad, I promise. There's a direct quote. I wish I remembered it. Something about, well, it was like he's like being born and dying at the same exact time. He says it's
Yeah.
actually quite disturbing. And then they said, "You said, yeah. What do you think it looks like?" And the camera pans over, and there's just an intern or something in the corner, horrified. I was like, "This is perfect. Like this is exactly what it needs." But man, the suspense right there at the end of this episode when Loki is going to answer a telephone because the pruner didn't travel with him to the future, and we see Sylvie in the elevator, and then Loki gets pruned, which it's obviously going to be Loki pruning himself, right? Because like it didn't show us who it was, but I'm thinking he knows he has to do that because it is the future to send him back. So I think that's what it is, and we won't actually get to see that scene play out until several episodes towards the end of the season. Is my guess, because that's how these time shows work. I'm calling it.
Maybe. Maybe. What if, which is another really good Marvel.
What if?
Kiwi Kwan's character, OB. What if it turns out he's the one running everything?
That would be a wonderful change of events. Like
Because
I want to keep Ki Hu Kwan in the whole show. Like he fits right in with this crew.
so the reason I'm wondering is Jonathan Majors got involved in some stuff, right? They've really not promoted him since then. Like it's been very quiet. Um, and I'm wondering, do they try and like phase him out?
I put Ki Hu Kwan as the real villain. God, could you imagine, dude? That would Chris. If that's what happens, let's imagine, if you will, listeners and viewers, that is what happens. How awesome would that be for Ki Hu Kwan, for him to be the next big bad of the MCU, and just oh, I would be okay with them pivoting that way because he is a great character, and no one would ever expect that. So he could be like a He Who Remains variant that's actually behind the scenes kind of stuff, and
Which would explain why the imagery hasn't changed, right?
right.
And then again, we haven't seen or heard anything about Kang since Ant-Man,
This will be our first
which
time.
they didn't have time to retcon anything. Now they have, right? Because this has been what, a year in the making.
Yeah.
So
It's going to be interesting. I'm really excited to see what happens, though, because this is going to be. Oh, they got me chills again. Oh, man. There was a post-credit scene. While all that's going on, Loki finds himself in the. I guess we didn't talk about this. While all that's going on, Loki finds himself in the TVA's future, and it's in disarray. He hears a phone ringing near the elevator, which he edges towards as Sylvie tries to open the doors on the elevator. Just before he can answer any questions, he's pruned from behind, and then time slipping is fixed. However, just what is going on with the TV will likely only be resolved as the series continues. This isn't all that we see of Sylvie in the episode, though, as the special post-credit scene, where we find out where she went to after killing He Who Remains. The enters unexpectedly in Broxton, Oklahoma in 1982 at a McDonald's. It's probably the happiest we've seen her as she tells the employees she wants to try one of everything as she watches people around her enjoying themselves. Which made me so happy because you got to think however many years she's been on the run at the edge of apocalypses to stay hidden as a variant, and now she's just being happy. So
that's one way to take it.
Yeah.
I mean, the other way is she's not looking at the menu when she says she wants to try one of everything. She's looking at the people.
That's a good way, Chris. I like it. A couple of Easter eggs here. Obi's real name is Ouroboros, which has an intriguing double meaning. It's a circular symbol that represents something eating itself, signifying an endless cycle of death and rebirth. Sounds perfect for someone working at the TVA, which I've also got the Ouroboros tattoo on me.
Look at you.
I know. Already planning ahead. The entrance door at the TVA, which I don't know if I screenshotted this. I meant to send this to you. Which allows them to reach the temporal loom, has an X in the middle of it, and looks pretty uncanny to the X-Men door in the movies.
Yeah.
Which because someone put the gifts like on top of each other, and it looks the same way it opens, and everyone's like, could this have a meaning with something?
It would have to, right? Because those were Fox movies, so it's
Hmm.
not like it wouldn't make sense why Marvel would still have props from Fox
Right.
movies sitting around.
So it's a little people have noticing. Broxton, Oklahoma is a location from Thor comic fans will know well, and the source material it's actually where Thor set up New Asgard after his rebirth. So that's pretty cool. And there's
Yeah.
also a cheeky Moon Knight connection. While this didn't make it into the Disney Plus version, an earlier clip of what Casey is listening to confirms it's the same podcast that Stephen Grant is hearing in Moon Knight episode 1. So I guess that's in a deleted scene somewhere. Didn't make it into the Disney Plus.
Uh-huh.
Oh, so they probably at a Comic Con somewhere showed a clip,
Hmm.
and that's what it was. Oh, that's pretty cool though. But all right, Loki season 2, episode 1 in the books. God, what a show! But listen,
I
we are
loved it.
not done there yet, ladies and gentlemen. It's back. It is finally back. Heroes or hero and a douche canoe of the week. Let's start off. Let's just right at the beginning on hero. Gen V episode 2. Emma, I would like to suggest for this one,
Hmm.
using her mind control powers to save.
No, not Emma.
Nope, you're right. Kate.
Mm,
And I'm trying to think. I think that's really our only hero in this one. I mean, everybody else is not good. Well, I keep the number one's name. I'm gonna go find it now. Give me a second. I'm going to find it. Andre,
mm,
kind of doing his own investigative work, not taking no for an answer, kind of thing.
right.
So we can say Kate and or Andre. Loki. OB? No, 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 no. I want to suggest Mobius
Okay.
because he went into the time loom knowing it would peel his skin off, and he had
Yeah.
another choice. He didn't have to really care about Loki, and
Yeah.
that's something
Saving
else
Loki.
too. Speaking back to your OB thing, he was not concerned about Mobius and Loki dying like at
No, he
all.
started shutting that door.
Yeah, he was like, okay, I can't do it anymore. Like he was. That's a good to your credit there. I think there's definitely something else going on.
Can
But
I say?
yes,
I know we've already left. Before we name our hero and then our douche canoe about that episode of Loki. Time travel is such a difficult thing,
mm-hmm.
and I loved how they had him remembering things that Loki was telling him at that moment in the past.
Yes. And
Like,
he
wait a
said,
minit.
"Huh, wait, actually, I'm just now remembering that."
Yeah,
And Moby's like, "Are you remembering just now? Because Loki is Loki with you right now, or is this what's going?" Like, it was just so very good about that.
yeah,
And like speaking on the time travel thing too, what was really cool was that monitor fell and cracked the floor, and
yeah.
when he went back to the present, the floor was cracked again. Like
Hmm.
where that happened. I was like, oh, that's a really cool little nod. And that's what they were trying to not really force feed us, but show us that, hey, this is what timelines we're jumping across here. This is very,
Yeah,
very, very cool.
yeah.
All right, so we got Kate, Andre, or Mobius. I would like to nominate Mobius because he could have had his skin torn off and he
Yeah.
was doing it for a friend.
Yeah, the others didn't really have that level of what do you call it?
Danger, I guess.
Yeah,
Risk, maybe.
there wasn't as much sacrifice on their
Right.
part. So definitely, yeah. I think Mobius is a good pick.
And looky here, we're actually keeping count this season. Mobius is up to 1. Douche Canoe. Let's start with Loki. I
I don't really.
mean, I don't know if there's really one here.
All right,
Not yet. Like, I mean, we don't really know Ki Hui Kwan's.
right.
If he is, we don't really know yet.
We don't know what's her name in those
Yeah. Renslayer.
No, what was her face? Um,
Sylvie.
no, the one that left with all the troops.
Oh, Docs? No,
Yeah,
Docs is the good one. right? No, Docs is the bad one.
Docs is bad.
Yeah, we don't know what that's because that was a lot like that. Like they said, that's not all just to go get Sylvie. I
No.
think they're going to go try and clean up the timeline
Yeah.
because they had a bunch of like
They're
resetters and
they're just gonna prune even though they've been
yep.
told not to.
So little issues going on there. Gen V, you could say Adina, the Dean.
It's full of doucheliness.
Yeah, it's all.
I
Oh,
mean,
Justine. Although I genuinely think Justine didn't do that on purpose. Like, well, like I do, but I don't because she
it
was really
seemed
hurt about that.
it seemed like it bothered her when
Yeah,
she realized Emma wasn't okay with it.
right.
Um,
Um, not so much the dad. I don't think.
you could say Maria for not giving credit to the
Oh yeah,
others.
Marie is just a complete douche. Like we're supposed to be like centering on her, and
Right.
she's not really like it's more so she's in it for herself and what she can gain from the situation, which is okay. But like
Yeah, because
Jordan really was the one that stopped everything.
yeah, Jordan
So
was really the one. And then when Andre doesn't show up for the interview, they just remove him from the
right,
story entirely.
that
So
was
she doesn't give him
yeah
credit either.
yeah. I'm down for Marie. So we got double M's. We got M and M this week.
Mm.
Mobius won, Marie won for hero and douche, respectively. And now, Chris, here's something fun, which we did not realize until I didn't realize until we are doing the docket for the show. Releases this week. Thursday, October 12th, The Fall of the House of Usher. Usher launches on Netflix. That is the Edgar Allan Poe, Mike Flanagan series with Mark Hamill in it.
And I really want to watch that.
I do too. And
We're just so busy.
should we earn it from the list? You know, one
We could.
episode per week. I mean, we might. I mean, honestly, what's 5 hours worth of shows, you know? And Loki
and,
does like 30-minute episodes sometimes.
and about 5 hours worth of movies.
You know,
Okay.
let's debate on that. We'll see. But I'm right there with you. I really want to watch it because we both really like Edgar Allan Poe stuff. Thursday, October 12th, Doom Patrol Season 4 Part 2 drops on Max. Again, we do not know the episode count. Are they dropping all of them or if they're doing one by one? James Gunn did not get back to me on Threads. It's okay. He's a busy guy. But if they do drop a lot, we will be doing one episode a week.
When Titans came back, they only did what, like 6 or 7 episodes?
Yeah, I think it was like 6.
Yeah.
But I think they dropped 2 on the first week and then 1 after that. So we are going to do 1 though until like we start getting a little bit lighter, and then we'll start trying to catch up because we are heavy. Because Friday, October 13th, ladies and gentlemen, Goosebumps, the new, whatever you want to call it, the new reimagining, it's the continuation from the first with the Jack Black movie.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Comes out on Disney Plus and Hulu. So if you have one or the other, that's the way to do it. And then Friday, October 13th, John Carpenter's Suburban Screams comes out on Peacock. Chris looked into that earlier as well, and right up our alley. So, you know, we won't be reviewing that one, but we probably will watch it at some point in our lives because that's going to be a good one.
Yeah.
But okay, finally done with TV. Next week is going to be a doozy, everybody. If you don't watch all the shows, that's okay. Just kind of switch around to the podcast to find the episode we're talking about of the show and that you are watching, and that's the best way to do it. So, because we have a lot of TV stuff to talk about.
A lot.
I can't wait. And I'm so glad that I don't have anything to do this weekend. In theory. So
I may have to take the stuff that's already out because they've already dropped, what, 4 episodes of Gen V?
yeah, we're 2 behind on it.
So I may have to go ahead and like watch it tonight for next week.
Yeah.
And start doing that because
Just to have time for it all.
yeah.
Because you don't want your whole off time just to be filled doing this. And so I get it.
No. I have to
Man.
pace myself.
Right.
On into movies. So have you watched anything else?
No, nothing this week. This week has been nonstop busy, like nonstop busy. So I haven't even had time to play Assassin's Creed, which is not ideal.
Right.
So, but what about you?
Um,
Anything?
no, no. With work and all that, and trying to. In fact, most of what we had to watch, I binged between Friday and Saturday.
Yeah, it's
It's just like hurry up and get it in.
that's what I did this morning. I watched Gen V, and then mowed the yard, and then had to watch Haunted Mansion right after that. So,
Yeah. Speaking of Haunted Mansion, that's our movie this week. So Tyler did not have time to get to Final
no,
Destination.
so we had to
Uh,
do a little pivoting.
yeah, so we're going to bump it to next week in a double feature with Hereditary. And then I believe the schedule calls for the week after that will be Scream 7 and Shaun of the Dead.
Yep.
And then The Omen and Dark Shadows.
Yeah,
We
you.
added Dark we added Dark Shadows. We randomized what was left off of the list. It came up because we wanted to balance out that final week. So, old Johnny Depp, Tim Burton action.
Oh, it's another one of those. I don't know why I say it like that, but it's. Oh man.
So, anyway, Haunted Mansion. So we are going to talk spoilers. We're not going to. This did just recently come out on streaming. So if you haven't seen it yet, go ahead and watch it. Then come back to the discussion. We're going to go through the plot. This is not exactly the same characters or anything from the Eddie Murphy Haunted Mansion, which is good. I'm glad that they went some different directions with
Right.
this. But I was curious how it did at the box office. It is 2 hours and 4 minutes.
It didn't feel like it though.
It didn't. It moved quick.
Yeah.
It had. It did not do well. So it had a budget of 150 to 157.8 million. Its box office was 114.5 million. So it lost a little bit of money.
Yeah, just a little bit.
But here we go, into the plot. Ben Mathias, an astrophysicist developing a camera to detect dark matter, meets and marries Alyssa, a ghost tour guide, and becomes entranced with her belief in the supernatural. We'll note, by the way, that this takes place in New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
After Alyssa dies in a car crash, Ben gives up his career and continues to run her ghost tour. Ben searches famous haunted places looking for signs of his wife, but he eventually becomes despondent and depressed when he finds no evidence of ghosts. Years later, Gabby, a doctor, and her son Travis move from New York into Gracie Manor to turn it into a bed and breakfast, only to learn it's haunted by a variety of ghosts. Ben is visited by priest and exorcist Father Kent, who hires him to photograph the ghost at Gracie Manor. Ben's initially incredulous until he returns home and is haunted by a ghost mariner who forces him to return to the mansion. Ben learns that Gabby, Travis, and Kent have also fallen victim to hauntings, forcing them to return to the mansion as well. Ben and Kent recruit Harriet, a psychic with legitimate powers, and steal blueprints to the mansion from haunted house historian Professor Bruce Davis. The group finds a hidden seance room. Harriet manages to contact the spirit of Gracie, who writes a message instructing them to talk to the legendary medium Madame Leota. But before they can continue, a mysterious entity forces Harriet out of the house. Bruce arrives shortly afterwards and becomes haunted as well, which is hilarious.
Yes.
The group stays at the mansion where they proceed to look for Leota's ghost. Ben goes into the attic where he runs afoul of a ghostly bride and finds a locked trunk. Upon examining the contents, they find a crystal ball which houses Leota. Leota reveals that William Gracie bought the mansion and recruited Leota to try and contact the spirit of his dead wife Eleanor every night for a full year, releasing hundreds of ghosts into the mansion. An evil entity then tricked Gracie into taking his own life and trapped Leota inside her crystal ball. Harriet attempts to perform an astral projection for more answers, but ends up sending Ben out of his body. he discovers Gracie as well as the evil entity, the Hatbox Ghost. The next morning, Bruce takes Ben to get a sketch artist to draw up the Hatbox Ghost. He's identified as Alistair Crump, a rich heir who was abused by his father after his mother's death and eventually expelled from the home. Upon reaching adulthood, he killed his fellow socialites out of revenge for being shunned by society, before being beheaded himself by his mutinous servants. The ghost of Crump proceeds to lock the mansion down, but Ben, Kent, and Travis manage to escape. They find Crump Manor, which has become a historical site. They learn from the mariner who followed them that Crump needs someone to willingly give up their life and become the mansion's 1,000th spirit in order to escape the mansion. Travis finds Crump's hat, which they can use as part of a ritual to banish Crump back to the afterlife. The three make it back to the Gracie mansion, where Ben and Kent rescue Gabby, Harriet, and Bruce, but Crump burns the hat. Ben also learns from Gabby that Travis's father is dead. Crump plans to use Travis's grief to make him the willing and final ghost. Ben finds Travis and manages to convince him to let go of his father as they and Gabby confront Crump in the graveyard. Kent manages to convince the ghost to turn on Crump and join forces with them. And Bruce delivers a piece of the hat to Harriet, who uses Leota's incantation to banish Crump. Crump attempts to get Ben to give up his life willingly to see Alyssa again, but Ben reveals he's made peace with losing Alyssa before kicking Crump in the face and sending him back to the underworld. Many of the ghosts decide to stay at the mansion, now in harmony with Gabby and Travis. Ben goes back to teaching, and upon leaving his apartment, pets the cat who's been hanging out by his door, discovering its name is Tater Tot, a nod to his wife's love for the snack. The group reunites on Halloween for a party at the mansion with the happy haunts. Harriet regains full confidence in her psychic abilities, Kent becomes a real pastor, Travis is voted to the student council, and Bruce maintains his newfound friendships. Real quick, let's run down the cast briefly. Some names in this. Lakeith Stanfield is Ben. Rosario Dawson's Gabby. Owen Wilson is Father Kent.
Hilarious, by the way. That's
Yeah.
Oh, we got a double dose of Owen Wilson this weekend. He's great in all of them.
Tiffany Haddish is Harriet. Danny DeVito is Bruce. Jamie Lee Curtis is Madame Leota. Jared Leto was Alistair Crump.
Mm-hmm.
It notes that he was the voice of the Hatbox Ghost, and his likeness was used for the police sketch.
Pretty cool.
Interesting for old-time TV fans, Mary Lou Henner is one of the Carols at the beginning on the tour group. She and Danny DeVito were in the TV series Taxi together.
Oh.
And
I had no idea Danny DeVito was, like, I knew he was in it, but I forgot until I watched the film. And they went to the professor. I was like, is that Danny DeVito? And sure enough, it was. And he's just a treasure. Like, he needs to be protected at all costs.
Daniel Levi is an entertainment tour guide named Vic, and his wife in an uncredited role played by Winona Ryder.
Yes, which she was very easy to spot as well.
Yeah.
So, what do you give this one, Chris?
I gave this a 3.5.
Okay.
In part because there's a lot of interesting ghosts that we see.
Mm-hmm.
And there's not all of them are prominent, not even most of them are prominent, but they do you do see some of the same ones multiple times. And I wanted to know more about them.
Yeah,
and we didn't
I'm right there with you.
We didn't get backstory. There's one scene I really felt like they could have cut. So Travis is the son, and Ben looks out the window at one point, and he sees Travis being chased back home.
That was like a very throwaway scene.
Yeah, and then he goes out and has a conversation with him, and Travis can't understand why the other kids don't like him. He's like, I always dress my best. I'm the first to raise my hand in class. and I always try and make sure everyone sticks to the rules on the playground.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, I think you just answered your own question. But we really don't need
It had nothing to
to
do with the
know that.
plot. It didn't help us flesh
No.
out Travis. It didn't. No.
I mean, it doesn't give him any more sympathy. A, he's a kid.
Right.
So you don't want to see anything bad happen to him anyway. And he lost his dad. That's kind of all the sympathy that
Right.
character needed. It was almost like they gave him that scene to give him more screen time.
Mm-hmm.
And I would have rather filled it with something about the ghosts.
Yeah.
And there were a couple other small scenes. Jamie Lee Curtis, really good.
She's been having some fun lately.
Yes, she has. But I wanted to know more about the ghost. I would have liked to have seen a bit more from Danny DeVito.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I feel like the opening scene when he shows up and he ends up getting knocked over by a recliner
Mm-hmm.
and
Thrown out into the middle of the road.
taken all the way out to the middle of the road. He ends up in the hospital, and they're like, "Do you know why he was just sitting in a recliner in the
In the middle of the road, yeah. But it was so good. I gave this a 4-star. I really enjoyed this one, and there were quite a bit jump scares, but like once you got past those a little bit, it was much better. The first little bit of this movie, I was like, okay, we are really turning this up a notch, because on some of the paintings that would move and jump around, stuff like that, very good. I like how we didn't get a whole lot of the mom and son Travis saying, "Oh, it's haunted." We got a very much okay, yeah, it's for sure haunted, and then the Ben ends up there, and they're like, "Oh no, we've been here. We tried the whole hotel things, even got out of state, and we kept being followed by ghosts to return here." I was like, "Okay, great. We didn't really need that setup, which that line was all we needed for it,
Yeah.
and I'm glad we did it." Jamie gave this one a 5 out of 5 stars. So she really enjoyed this one. She's still a little crazy, but I still love her for it. A couple of Easter eggs and trivia here on IMDb. I see Gracie Manor is modeled after the original Disneyland Haunted Mansion, where Crump Manor is modeled after Magic Kingdom's Haunted Mansion at Walt Disney World. At the Crump Estate, the velvet rope and stanchion adorned by a metal bat is identical to those in the Haunted Mansion ride queue. The chair in which Harriet is seated at the Spirit Session and in which she is later expelled from the mansion resembles the ride vehicles known as Doom Buggies in the ride at the Disney parks. And then last one I'll talk about is Eddie Murphy, star of the original version of this film, was invited back to make a cameo appearance, but the studio turned him down when he demanded $500,000 for one day's work. So, good call.
Why would you do that?
Yeah. Dude, come on. Just show up for, charge them $100,000 if you even wanted to charge them that much. Do a day's work of a small little cameo, which honestly would take you 5-15 minutes to do and be done with it.
Yeah.
Come on. So.
Yeah.
But another good movie, though.
People are
money hungry.
Well, and you have to look at the trade-off, right? Now granted, the movie didn't have a ton of box office success, but a lot of kids went to see this. Mm-hmm. Kids that have no idea who Eddie Murphy is,
mm-hmm.
right? So kids that could have very easily gotten to know some of his other kid-friendly work.
Or even would have been, if Zoe or Stellas watched this with us and said, "Oh, I really like that movie." Like, "Oh, well, let's watch the original." Mm-hmm. Actually, the guy that you saw in this movie is from the original, and is the main character. Come on, but whatever.
$500,000 for one day.
One day's work,
and not even a full day. He's not.
No, yeah, dumb. What do I know?
Yeah, it's nuts. So, like we said before, Final Destination and Hereditary next week. So, there is one film out this week in cinemas on Friday the 13th, appropriately. The Exorcist Believer is coming out.
Have you seen the Rotten Tomato scores for this one?
I've not.
28%.
Ooh, that means it's probably good.
Well, it's coming out that the original writer of the Exorcist movie saw that. So the same guy that did, what did his movie did this guy do? Um, some dumb like comedy movie is the director of this one, of the Believer
Hmm.
one, and the original writer and director said that he said I will be. He said hopefully I'm dead before anyone ever makes this movie because the guy that they already announced was doing it because he didn't condone this. He said no, this is not needed, which to be fair. And he said, "I'll be damned." He says, "If I die before this movie ever comes out, I'll be haunting him for the rest of my days." I was like, "Okay," and
Well,
here we
but
are.
I mean, is it because the guy's got a comedy background?
It was
Because
a let me see.
Danny McBride has a comedy background, but he was one
Yeah,
of the people involved in the newer Halloween movies, and that turned out pretty well. So,
right. David Gordon Green is what it is. What did he do? David Gordon
what
Green.
it's generally not a good sign if you have to ask what someone did.
Yeah. Well, what I'm trying to think of what movie that they were talking about this. American filmmaker. He did.
What
Oh,
did his
he
style?
directed the sequel to Halloween in 2021, and Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends.
Yeah, that's right.
So
That's where I've heard his name before.
what was he talking about? Pineapple Express. Because he said, "I'll be damned if I let the guy from Pineapple Express touch my project." And
Well,
yeah,
he
and there's a
touched it.
sequel coming out called The Exorcist Deceiver. It comes out 2025. Huh.
No.
But he did Halloween Kills, and Halloween Ends. He was director and writer. Which okay, the first Halloween and Halloween Kills were decent. Halloween Ends was a little meh, but oh come on, he's got a fine. His like repertoire is fine. So, but anyways, that's all I know. But ladies and gentlemen, that is it for our episode. We got a very stacked week next week, so make sure you're watching it all. If not, just fast forward, rewind back to the spots that you do want to listen to. If it's Gen V, or if it's Loki, or if you want to hear us talk about potentially watching Fall of the House of Usher, stuff like that. That's you know just scroll through. We're okay with that. But thank you all so much for listening and watching. We really hope you enjoy this episode of the Nerdwide Podcast. Do not forget to share on all your favorite social media platforms, including Threads. That is going to potentially be our home platform, so make sure you're all following us there. You can follow Nerdwide anywhere on anything else, and wherever you want to do so. But as always, ladies and gentlemen, that has been this week's episode of the Nerdwide Podcast. And 131 is next week with 4 to 5 TV shows to talk about. So make sure you're watching us, and we'll talk to you then. Thanks for watching, guys.
Later, guys.